$300,000 better than last I know. That's great. I just kind of stood out to me.
Yeah. That's good.
Need a motion second, please.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion from Commissioner Hughes, second from Mr. Woodall. Any further discussion?
Now, the state didn't get back with us and say, we accidentally gave you sales tax and you weren't supposed to get.
They've done that before.
Yeah, they have. The most that, it ever was I think, 180,000, I think, with the city of Franklin.
But even at the end of November, we're still running $280,000 ahead last year. So we're doing great.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Finance Director report. Andrew.
General report. Everything's pretty well looking on task. We've just got a couple of departments that I've talked about earlier. That's the juvenile services where Rutherford County houses our juveniles from the court system. That's really the only place where we're having any issues, and luckily that's not a huge budget. We spent about $15,000 in October, November, which that's just about what our budget is for the year. That's just one of those things we really don't have any control over, and we just go up and down as we need to with Judge Ferris. Seems fit. Other than that, everything's looking pretty, right on target. Sales tax being up, interest is down even more.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Eldridge,
I'll second.
second Mr. Hughes. Now any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. County General Budget Amendment.
The first item at the top, the solid waste got another TDEC grant for a skid loader. There's a $21,000 match on that. And I put that in the county general because, as you know, we've got some funds budgeted there already for solid waste equipment. So that's where they'll take care of their match from. And then we've got another $1,000 grant from the Department of Agricultural for signage out here for the farmers market. Just going down through there, I tried to separate these up a little bit. We received some revenues last year that were earmarked for specific purposes like Human Resource Agency for veterans and that kind of thing. We received reimbursements from the federal government for the sheriff's meth overtime and then for OCF overtime. So the way that works is when we receive those funds, we budget back that money for his line item. And that's the way it's written in the budget document to do that. It's just kind of clean up. We possibly could get some more solid waste grants, so we're just keeping our ears open.
Andrew, let's just take this $1,000 for the farmers market side. I thought I saw the grant application further over in the package.
Yeah, it's in there.
So you go ahead and amend the budget even though we haven't got the grant?
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those where we found out about it the day it was due. And probably what happened was Jan Kaiser from the Department of Agricultural probably called, what's his name?
John
Farrell. And, he probably just said, hey, is there anything for signage? And she was like, yeah, if you can get this. It was pretty much a one-day thing.
But you just have to follow up with the paperwork.
Yeah,
That's what we've got to
yeah.
And the same thing on the skid loader. Looks like it's over here too,
Yeah,
in the
it's
grant
in there.
application. That's pretty cool. All right. Just wondered.
Mayor signed that one yesterday, so it's, all we got to do is send it in. There's two more that hopefully will be coming out within the next month.
Generally, the summary sheets, I fill those out when I'm aware of the grant. So-
They used to call that pork barrel money, it's different now.
Oh.
What do they call it now?
Pardon?
What do they call it now?
Whatever this is.
Yeah, whatever
right
you-
now.
Well, it just seems strange we were applying for it and counting on it.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Elders, second by Mr. Woodall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Two general fund budget amendment.
These are just two self-supporting grants. The SRO grant, 29,460, and then we had 4 schools that got some small grants for art. So we have to bring those to our books.
Is now the time to ask the question. SRO, what is that, what is that grant going to pay for?
It'll go to the sheriff's department to help fund the SROs. The county budgets it as a transfer, anticipating it coming in.
Well, that was where I was headed, because the SROs are not funded out of the school budget.
Right.
A portion of them.
Well, see, we'll turn around and pay it to the county general then.
It's just that the grant goes through the school system.
Can I speak to that? When the SROs were first begun, back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, this was the only funding that we had. And we've done it the very same way ever since. Once this funding became available, the employee is of the sheriff's department. When we know this funding comes in, we apply for it, and it goes direct, it's transferred directly to them.
Right.
And that amount has diminished a little bit, but it's still, it probably covers, I'd say, one good one plus the fringe, somewhere in that. So whatever it is, we apply for it every year, it goes right back where it needs to go.
You pay for partial.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Commissioner Elders, second by Commissioner Hughes. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Comptroller's letters of approval for debt service.
These are the approval letters from the comptroller. The first one on page 14, if you'll notice, that's for $280,000. They combine the $150,000 and the $130,000 into one letter on the solid waste. I have not transferred those funds yet. Our taxes, we just, the skin of my teeth, I got through there, and so I'm hoping that I won't have to. I've got to sit down and look and see how much tax revenue that we've gotten this month. This was a big month, that ending December, and Randy doesn't have his books closed out, so we don't have that information yet. So hopefully I won't have to transfer anything. I have transferred 150. Hopefully I won't have to transfer anymore, but they combined that into one letter. And on page 16 and 17, that's for the school general transfer to the federal projects that we do annually. We're required to send that back through the county commission.
Andrea, has there ever been a time when we didn't have that paid back by the end of the year?
Yes, sir. There are steps that you can go through. Basically, it's a debt service process. At the time, I have to back up and go back through with the comptroller, and we have to send a resolution to the county commission, just like we're doing a bond or a note, if we can't get that paid off in time.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Van Buskirk, second by Mr. Woodall. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Finance Director request to revise the purchasing cooperative authorized list.
I think it was back last year, the county commission approved for us to use some cooperative purchasing organizations, and the ones listed at the top are the ones that are currently approved. We'd like to add 2 more. The school system has requested one of them, which is, I think, the NASPO, and then the TIPS, the highway department is requesting that we get in on that. So I'd like to get this sent to the county commission for approval to get those 2 added to the list.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion, Mr. Woodall. discussion? I'm sorry, I looked at Van Busker.
What can I say?
I don't know which one to apologize to.
Yeah.
Probably both.
Maybe y'all just slip out. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Tennessee Department of Agriculture Farmers Market Grant Summary.
This is a one-page application, so the application's directly behind it.
Guess we'll approve that.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Elders, second by Commissioner Van Busker.
Can I help you out a little bit?
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Solid waste TDEC grant applied for.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion by Commissioner Van Busker, second by Mr. Rowell. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Franklin County, Tennessee Federal Funds Administrative Policy and Procedure.
Okay, this is the new policy that we've been required to put into place. I updated the finance department's policies and procedures back in November, December, got approved in December, along with any changes that need to be made to bring us up to guidelines with the federal government. Anybody that receives federal funds now has to have this policy in place. And basically, it takes the OMB circular, where all the rules and regulations are for federal funding, and puts it, I guess, in a more simplified version. So basically, we have a template, and we had to fill in what our current policy is, or link it to our policies and procedures. The Highway Commission, Board of Education has already seen this and approved it, and so the last step was to get it through County Commission. And there's an organization chart on the very back, and a user agreement. So anybody that deals with the federal funds, such as me, Cindy, Johnny and Andrea, the school federal programs managers, anybody that deals with the federal funds, even the claims, receiving the money, that type thing, will have to sign the user agreement and understand the manual. They put this in place so if something happened with Cindy and myself or the school federal programs manager, the next person that comes in should be able to pick up this manual and see what they're supposed to do according to federal guidelines. So, that they'll be doing the correct thing.
Andrea, this is, probably sounds like a bit of nerdish, but I did actually read it, and it almost looked like somebody went to sleep on page 54 to 57 with there's several grammaticals and words left out. I'll be glad to give you if you.
I
didn't know if it
by
was.
the time I got to page 54.
Well, I didn't know if we wrote this or somebody else wrote it, but anyway, if you want, I'll give those to you.
On the chart and the.
Well, it's actually page 6 of the document, but 54 of our packet. And
54 of the packet.
And you know, just like the word budget was left out there, and it should have been are instead of is, and a few of those kind of things. But
Yeah. We'll get that.
Okay.
We'll get those corrected.
Entertain a motion. Motion, Mr. Wood, I'll second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hughes. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Finance Director, other business.
I wanted to give you copy. This is actually a copy from last year, but of what the budget documents will look at that I send out. Basically, I send out a memo with a 5-year history, a current employee active list with their benefits, a 4-column budget document that's got an actual budgeted, estimated, and blank, current January statement of expenditures, the annual purchase order list that we have on file for each department, and a blank letter of agreement form for the elected officials, and a copy of the budget calendar. I haven't changed this much. Maybe a little bit of the wording in the memo. The commission requested a hiring freeze, and that information is still in there. But basically, the memo just outlines what I need from the elected officials, department heads in regard to the budget when we sit down and look at their budget. The annual purchase order list that's an important thing. So that's one thing that I'm really going to try to get the department heads to look at in the budget process instead of after the fact, because come July 1, we go to put in purchase orders based off the list that we have for them. So if they've changed vendors for contracted service, we want to make sure that we've got the right purchase orders sitting in place, that type of thing. But this is basically what the budget document looks like that I send out. It's different with Cindy. She works with the schools a little closer in hand on the beginning part of the budget process. So, but other than that, when somebody sees, basically I'm giving them their history, what their current employees are. And then when it comes back to finance for review, I'll insert what they requested, but I'll also have a column that is suggested by me. Sometimes you guys, look at that and take into account. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's the same thing as what they're requesting.
Anybody have anything else on the committee? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved, Mr. Woodall. Second. Second by Mr. Rudder. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I just have one.
Aye, yeah.
Andrew, when we look at departments for the budgets, do we look at anything as far as person power productivity or by individual, or is it what the departments are requesting, and we or talk to them about it, or?
As far as employee evaluation, that type of thing?
Well, no, as far as the number of employees per department.
No, generally, since the hiring freeze has been on, if there's a new hire request, it comes to the committee and then the county commission. But as far as current staff, especially with elected officials, there's a maintenance of effort with the sheriff on that as far as his salary and payrolls, but it's not addressed directly.
Okay.
No.
It is with all the other offices too, basically, because like when the county officials have so many employees, this committee or the county commission doesn't have the authority to take those employees away.
Yeah, well, no, I wasn't suggesting.
Oh, okay, I didn't know
away.
that.
I was just curious if there was anything that we evaluated the department by manpower, I guess, or by productivity. Okay.
Each department has a different function. Most are regulated by state statute.
Yeah.
Like for my department example, the finance committee determines our operations.
Right.
The only other small little departments, pretty well anything that the county commission, you know, as far as fees, like the building commissioner, all of that, everything each department does is determined by county commission approval. As far as the, you know, direct supervision of those, it's under the mayor, like for EMA, building and zoning and the maintenance department, probation services. And so, but there's nothing that I know of unless department heads or elected officials are doing that on their own.
Anything else? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank y'all.